You know that feeling when you're talking to someone, and it feels like you're carrying the entire conversation on your back, and the other person couldn't care less about anything you're saying? They're just nodding like, yeah, I get you. But you can tell they're waiting for the first chance to escape. Listen, let me tell you something nobody talks about. Most people think they know how to communicate, but in reality, they ruin almost every conversation they enter because of a bunch of really simple mistakes. And me, I used to be one of them. I'd walk into any room feeling tense and leave feeling like I didn't even exist, like no one cared about anything I said. But here's the thing. Communication isn't what you think it is. It's not about being funny, having interesting stories, or knowing what to say. Those things help. However, they're not the foundation. Today, I'm going to show you the exact framework that transformed me from someone people avoided at parties to someone they actively seek out. By the end of this video, you'll understand the one technique that makes people feel like you're the best conversation they've had all week. I'm saving that for the very end because it ties everything together. The biggest mistake everyone makes, let's start with the biggest mistake. When someone talks to you, where is your attention? Most people think they're listening, but they're not. They're planning their next sentence. They're worried about how they look. They're thinking about whether they sound smart. Your brain is screaming, what do I say next? What do I say next? This is why your conversations feel like work. You're not actually there. You're in your head, rehearsing lines like an actor. The other person feels this. They might not know what's wrong, but they feel it. Therefore, they shut down. They give shorter answers. They look for an exit. Wait, let me prove this to you. Think about the last time someone made you feel truly heard. Not just nodded at, actually heard. How rare was that? How good did it feel? That person probably wasn't doing anything fancy. They were just completely present with you. Real listening means your attention is completely on them, not on you, not on your response, on them. What are they actually saying? What emotion is behind their words? When someone mentions they went somewhere, they're not just stating a fact. They're offering you a door. Walk through it. I'll never forget this my most embarrassing social moment at a friend's birthday party. Someone asked me about my week. I said, oh, pretty good. Just working. They smiled and walked away. 10 seconds. That's how long I kept their attention. 10 seconds. I watched them go talk to someone else and laugh for 20 minutes straight. I stood there holding my drink, feeling invisible. Music, that's when it hit me. I wasn't boring. I just communicated like I was. However, your body language is killing conversations. Listening alone isn't enough. Your body can betray you. I'd learned this the hard way. I'd be genuinely interested in what someone said, but I'd stand there like a statue, arms crossed, face blank. The other person would trail off mid-sentence because my body language screamed, I don't care. Your nonverbal communication is the proof that you're listening. Nod when they make a point. Lean in slightly when they share something personal. Make eye contact, but don't stare like a serial killer. React with your face. If they're excited, smile. If they're upset, show concern. Mirror their emotional energy. This isn't manipulation. It's showing respect. It's saying, I'm here with you in this moment. People open up to those who make them feel safe. Your body language creates that safety. Now, let's why facts kill conversations. Use stories instead. Talk about when it's your turn to speak. This is where most people completely fall apart. Someone asks how your weekend was. You say, good. Went to the beach. Conversation dies. You just threw a brick wall in front of them. Stories are the currency of human connection, not facts. Stories. If you can't tell a story, people will forget you exist. I'm serious. You could be the most interesting person in the world, but if you communicate like a robot reading a grocery list, nobody will care. Here's the difference. Bad version. I started making videos. Boring. Dead end. No emotion. Now watch this. Good version. Last month, I hit this breaking point. I've been consuming content for years, learning, growing, but keeping everything locked inside. One night, I saw this video, someone saying, if not now, when? And something clicked. However, when I actually grabbed my camera, my hands were shaking. I felt this wave of fear. I thought, who am I to do this? but then I pressed record anyway. See the difference? Context, emotion, internal struggle. That's what makes people lean in. They're not interested in what you did. They're interested in how it felt and what it meant. Stop for a second. Think about your last 3 conversations. Did you tell stories or did you just report facts? Be honest. Most of us are fact reporters. We need to become storytellers. Listen, if this is making you rethink how you connect with people, like and subscribe. Here's a technique to power strategic silence most people never use. Strategic silence. You don't have to fill every gap. Silence makes people uncomfortable. Therefore, they'll often fill it by going deeper. You ask someone how they're really doing. They give you the surface answer. I'm fine. Instead of moving on, you just wait. Music, 3 seconds of silence. They'll often continue. Actually, things have been kind of rough lately. Silence also gives weight to your words. When you pause before answering, it shows you're thinking. It shows what you're about to say matters. People pay more attention. Make people feel understood. Another thing, validate what people tell you. This is huge. Someone shares something personal, a struggle, a fear, a dream. Don't just nod and change the subject. Acknowledge it. Repeat it back in your own words. So, what you're saying is you felt stuck, and that pushed you to make a change. This does 2 things. It proves you were actually listening, and it makes them feel understood. Feeling understood is rare. When you mate, when you give someone that gift, they remember you. Ask follow-up questions. How did that feel? What made you decide that? What happened next? Curiosity is attractive. People love talking to someone who's genuinely interested in their experience. Now, let's address how to escape small talk, because everyone hates it, but it's necessary. The trick is to not stay there. Small talk is the doorway, not the room. How's work? Fine. Dead end. However, you can go deeper immediately. What's been the most challenging part lately? Or what's something you're working on that actually excites you? Specific questions get specific answers. Generic questions get generic answers. Therefore, be curious about the details. People who don't know how to communicate make everything about themselves. They wait for their turn to talk. Skilled communicators make others feel the secret. I promise you fascinating. Here's what I want you to understand. All these techniques work, but they only work if you have one thing. This is what I promised you at the beginning. This is the secret that makes everything else click into place. You need to trust yourself, not in a fake, forced way. Genuinely trust that what you think matters, that your perspective has value, that your opinions are worth hearing. Because if you don't believe that, your communication will always feel weak. You'll second-guess everything you say. You'll shrink when someone challenges you. You'll apologize for your existence. People are drawn to confidence, but not arrogance. Confidence is knowing you have something to offer. It's having opinions and being able to explain them. It's not being afraid of disagreement. When you trust yourself, conversations become easy because you're not performing. You're just being. However, here's the 9-20-1 technique that changes everything technique that changed everything for me. It's simple, but most people never do it. You ready? Spend time alone. Serious time. Not scrolling your phone, not watching videos. Actually alone with your thoughts. You can't communicate effectively if you don't know yourself. You need to know what you believe, what you value, what you stand for, what makes you angry, what makes you come alive. Most people avoid this work. Therefore, when they talk, they're just repeating things they've heard. They have no substance, no depth, nothing unique to offer. But when you know yourself, really know yourself, you become magnetic. You speak with conviction. You ask better questions because you've asked them of yourself. You listen better because you've learned to listen to your own voice. You're not desperate for approval because you've already approved of yourself. This is a foundation everything else is built on. You can learn every technique in the world, but if you're communicating from a place of insecurity and self-doubt, people will feel it. They'll walk away. However, when you communicate from a place of self-knowledge and self-trust, everything music changes. People want to be around you. They seek you out. Conversations flow naturally. That's the secret. Know yourself first. Everything else follows. Real communication doesn't start in conversations. It starts in silence when it's just you and your thoughts. That's where you find your voice. That's where you learn to trust it. Thanks for watching, and until next.